We have some new facts here about Trumpcare from the CBO. Huffington Post reports for us. The Republican plan to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act would increase the number of Americans without health coverage by 24 million and reduce the federal budget deficit by $337 billion by 2026, according to a Congressional Budget Office and Joint Committee on Taxation report published Monday. The American Health Care Act would cut taxes by $592 billion over a decade, and that goes to the richest of the rich in the country. The Medicaid cuts alone total $880 billion. If the GOP legislation were enacted this May, the number of Americans without health insurance would reach 52 million in 2026, compared to 28 million if the Affordable Care Act were left untouched. According to the report, the uninsured rate would rise from 10% to 19% over that time. Older people with lower incomes would disproportionately lack coverage because the legislation allows insurers to charge them higher rates than they do now. According to the CBO, a 64-year-old making $26,500 pays $1,700 under the Affordable Care Act. Under Trumpcare, the same person pays $14,600. Whoa. I need you to digest that. That's got to sink into your brain. A 64-year-old making $26,500 a year under the Affordable Care Act pays $1,700 for their health care. By the way, that's still too much. Still not okay. They can't afford all that. Under Trumpcare, they would pay $14,600. That's more than half their income. This is a disaster in so many ways. So, I mean, think about that. They say, and the numbers show, this would be worse than if you did nothing. If we never had Obamacare and the health insurance system and healthcare system stayed exactly the same all throughout Obama's time in office, as if we never did Obamacare, and now Trump comes in and they want to do this bill. If this were to become law, it would be worse than if we did nothing. Isn't that just an unbelievable fact? And then the little nuggets of information here say it all. A $592 billion effective tax cut for the richest of the rich in the country. We went over that story the other day. Trump repeatedly said on the campaign trail, I'm not going to cut Social Security, I'm not going to cut Medicare, I'm not going to cut Medicaid. This would be an $880 billion cut to Medicaid. And by the way, the deficit reduction that they're talking about, it all comes from that, basically. It all comes from that. You just gut Medicaid to the bone and kick people off. And then, by the way, as a result of that, people will die because poor people don't have the health care that they need. And so you gut it by $880 billion. And hey, look at that. We reduced the deficit and killed thousands of people. 52 million people uninsured by 2026. This is a joke. It's a sick, sick joke. This has nothing to do with helping the American people. It has to do with tired, stale, right-wing talking points that they think are, real solutions to healthcare in America. And it also has to do with their donors. That giant tax cut is a huge part of this. The Republicans super serve their donors. I mean, they're just a front group for corporate America and the health insurance companies. And look, Obamacare was bad enough in terms of how much it was a giveaway to the health insurance companies. And we ripped them for that. This is why I say all along, Medicare for all is the answer. So the Democrats are also corrupt. Make no mistake about it. But at least the Democratic bill, at least Obamacare, had some provisions in it which were reasonable provisions, which made sense. Here you have the whole fucking bill. It's like there's no concern at all about the American people in this bill. Can't be. You're cutting $880 billion from Medicare, kicking people off of their health insurance. You're going to charge poor seniors, for fuck's sake, more than half their income to pay for insurance, while at the same time they go out there and they lie about it. We covered this story yesterday. Tom Price It's like, well, what do you mean? No, nobody is going to be worse off financially under this bill. That is so insanely incorrect that we need a new word to describe it. Incorrect is not a strong enough word. It doesn't pack the oomph needed to describe just how wrong that is. Now, by the way, so this CBO report came out. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Tom Price, who's obviously been directly involved with this bill, he goes, not true. It's simply wrong. Really? So how did you come to that conclusion that they're wrong? I think they're wrong. Well, they show you how they come to their conclusions. They have their calculations. They explain it in detail. How do you can't just say they're wrong without explaining, oh, here's why and how they're wrong. But that's what they did. Wrong. It's like Trump in the debates. Wrong. Yeah, but explain yourself. How? Why? Give me information. They got nothing. So when you have a nonpartisan government agency, by the way, and they are nonpartisan, they've gone after the Democrats on a million things. They go, nope, still wrong. Anytime anybody ever disagrees with a Republican, they are wrong, by definition. I don't have to explain myself. Even if they've explained themselves in great detail, it doesn't matter, they're wrong. No, you are wrong, and you're a fucking liar. And Tom Price, by the way, is one of the most corrupt politicians in the country, and that says a lot. This is a guy who traded $300 worth of health stock in various health companies, and then proposed bills. Did I say $300? $300,000. There you go. In various health company stock. And then he proposed bills that would make those companies' stocks go up. That is like, that somehow manages to even violate some of the few remaining anti-corruption laws that we have in the United States. That's how gross and disgusting Tom Price is and corrupt he is. Never mind the standard kind of corruption where he takes campaign contributions from these people when he runs his campaigns. And does their bidding. So it's not just him doing their bidding, he's also getting involved personally and fattening his wallet. So these are the kinds of people that we're talking about. This is their character. They did their own, the White House had their own experts crunch the numbers on how many people would gain or lose health insurance. The White House numbers said, yeah, the CBO is actually too kind to you. We calculate that more people would lose insurance than they say in this report. It would only be funny if it wasn't so tragic at the same time. That we have politicians in this country who are so utterly disconnected and simply don't care about what's good for the people, what's right for Americans. You know, they just don't look out for their constituents. It's that simple. It's impossible to look at the effects of this bill and to say, yeah, this is crafted with the people in mind. No, it's crafted with the near $600 billion tax cuts for the uber rich in mind. That's who it's crafted for. It's crafted for the health insurance companies who, if you go without health insurance for 2 months, they can put a surcharge on you the next time you buy health insurance of up to 30%. So that's a real individual mandate. Obamacare has an individual mandate, but there was no enforcement mechanism. So in other words, they say, hey, by law, you got to buy health insurance. But if you don't, there's really no punishment because they don't enforce it. Under this, they do enforce it, and guess what? It's a fine that you're paying to the health insurance companies. So would you look at that? It's a win-win for them and a lose-lose for you. So you get price gouged. You pay them if you have insurance, and obviously they have to skim the money off the top for the CEO and a 3% profit margin, and only 80% of the money goes to care, and all these problems. You got to pad the bottom line. So they rip you off if you have insurance, and then if you don't have insurance, when you eventually get insurance, then they screw you even more, and they can charge you the 30% surcharge. So this is crafted for the health insurance companies. This is crafted for the rich. This isn't crafted for you, and the numbers prove it.